might have false started it earlier.
Notification, and that was when I was like, oh no. I went, surely I have like 2 seconds to go.
So quiet. Be more loud, please. Thank you.
Who, me?
Yeah, you are quite quiet.
My headset closer.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I was sitting back on my head.
Okay. N9TF. Jesus.
N9TF?
Yeah, that's our opposing team. Got that? I wonder if I still have OP privileges in this server.
Mm.
I do not. It's like, oh, never mind. It's in a different spot. Ah. Did they change their thing? There used to be a spot in the MetaShift server where I could, like, tag everyone in a certain division to come watch the stream.
Oh, did
but
they
I don't
give
know
that?
if I lost the power.
No, also let me take this opportunity to pre-stream, well not pre-stream, but pre-game to make sure everyone knows that X-Cray is very cute. Adorable individual. I think everyone's already aware of the fact, but I wanted to solidify it.
Oh, they're drafting. I am not quite ready. Oh god, and I'm gonna put it up on stream so you can talk about it for a second. I'll do like a real introduction in a second.
Okay.
But I'm trying to figure out. I used to have this on lock. I'm gonna ask.
Well, in the meantime, I can ramble about our very quick bans. We got the this went rapid fire. We have the Milio, Vi, and Sibber bans from N9TF, while RotM banned the Jarvan, even post nerfs, which haven't really hit him that hard. Vagar and Jinx, who, you know, as we've been discussing in previous streams, still benefiting from our arcane buffs. And then N9TF went with the first pick Wukong, which probably going jungle, could be going top. I have no idea what the people in that team play. So, and then Lilia first pick for Return to the Middle Six. And there, we're now caught up on draft. That was my extremely insightful, rapid-fire narration of what just occurred for everything people could probably watch. And we have the Ornn lock-in for topside from RotM.
Okay. Sorry. Well,
Oh, thank goodness.
welcome. I was trying to write an insightful message to League admins in a second. I'm Maris, my co-caster is Ollivander. This is Nine-Tailed Fox Crimson, which for some reason is the letter N followed by the number 9, TF Crimson, which I've chosen to shorten a different way on the stream just so that we're all clear. Taking on Return to the Middlesticks Crowstorm. Week 1 of MetaShift Radon action. I don't know where you left off. We got Vbon's Ornn, we got Gwen, we got Xayah, I think is it. I don't know if you mentioned Lilia, but
I did mention Lilia. I mentioned Ornn, so now we know the topside matchup will be Ornn v Gwen.
Already
Gwen.
Kind of strange that... So it's not strange from a RotM perspective. They will literally blind Ornn or Shen every game if they can for Vbon, but it's weird to see both top laners selected in the first part of the draft. Normally it's just jungle and bot lane. And Tristana's a flex, so RotM is sitting... You know, they have their Ornn card on the table, but other than that, they haven't really showed a whole lot. They have a lot of flexibility going into the second part of this draft.
They certainly do, and I think Xayah, what's Xayah sitting at bot lane wise now? I think she's still doing pretty well, at least in the higher elos. She has been gently nerfed a few patches ago, I think. They did something to her.
That sounds right. I don't think so. She's still pretty high priority, though, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, just kind of a tap down, maybe? I don't remember. My brain is fried. Happy Friday, everyone.
We made it. Everyone has made it to the weekend.
Yeah, we definitely did it. I'll tell that story publicly here in a second. Why I'm chuckling at the words "did it." Anyway, Zyra, Victor, and Thresh all banned, and now the Foxes have one last opportunity to probably target Chimmy, I would imagine, if they're not clear where that Tristana's going.
Yeah, that seems the safest when you don't know if you're trying to ban mid or ADC, and ideally if it's a flex, you can't do either, because hopefully, I don't know what X-Craze and Yabinda actually play. Oh.
They dropped the ban, it's Jhin. Jhin is banned.
Okay.
Okay. So the blank box is Jhin. Fair play to them. Although this one isn't as bad. This is why people like Draft Wall over Pro Draft, is that you actually get the normal stickiness of the 0 timer, but sometimes people just miss bans anyway. It happens. Whatever. Brahm's going to be locked in. Braum Tristana's not really a great lane, but it works. So I don't know how I feel about that specifically, but Braum seems to be getting a lot of popularity on his own.
Yeah, it's definitely... Braum Tristana is an interesting lane, and I'm wondering, is Braum a Rakan counter? Is that what, if we see the Xayah, we're trying to counter out the Rakan, who is still, I think, one of the best supports, if not the single best support currently, even after his minor nerf?
Braum fairly decent into it. The traditional Rakan counter is Leona, of course. But Braum, I think, is picked as that sort of... fills that niche as well. Brand is
the lock-in, so the Rakan point relatively moved.
Pantheon.
And Pantheon?
Are we going for it? We're really going for it. Okay. So Brand support, almost assuredly. Could be Pantheon support. That's not unheard of, but I wouldn't play that into Braum personally.
No, that doesn't seem especially fun. Also, Brand mid is not particularly good anymore. I think he actually might be one of the lowest win rate mid laners currently, but we have the Ziggs lock-in as the final one, which in theory could still be a flex between mid and bot lane.
Yeah, in theory. I just remembered that Yabinda is the AD carry, and Yabinda will not be playing the Ziggs champion.
Well, there we go.
I'll almost guarantee that one. So I'll put a couple of pesos down on the Tristana bot lane and the Ziggs mid.
All right.
I've been surprised before. They like to listen in and then make a fool out of me, but yeah, that's what I think it is.
Makes sense. Also, I will say Braum fairly solid also into Brand because you can indeed shield the initial cast of his R. I'm pretty sure it just consumes it. Watch me be wrong.
No,
With all my Braum knowledge.
I am pretty sure that's correct. If you do sneak in a different skill shot, though, it still bounces around. It just does less damage. So it has to be the very first ability that you hit with the Braum shield is the only one that it actually blocks, and then the rest are reduced damage.
Correct.
So got to time that one up right. While we have a second, I'm going to explain that we're going to put Yabyinda on blast. All right.
Okay.
So you have to sign up for this league using the MetaShift bot, and so you type in like a command. It's like player lock-in or point lock-in or something like that, and then the bot sends you a DM on Discord and asks you for your account name, and somehow this man Yabyinda just typed "did it," one word, DIDIT, capital D. And that logged in "did it" is his account name.
Oh.
He messaged it in a different chat. It was kind of weird, to be fair. But, yeah, anyway, so he did it.
He did it.
He did it. He done did it. And now
He done diddly done it.
all of the admins of MetaShift have consecutively laughed at him, and then they had 3 more people mess it up this time somehow as well, which apparently hadn't happened before. I'm also very surprised about, but yeah. Anyway.
It's very hard to create a totally foolproof system of any variety. Oh, there we go. It is definitely the Ziggs mid lane. You were correct. Presumably.
It's not definitely. You could still theoretically trade, although that's very much gamesmanship at that point, so... I don't know about Pantheon into Ziggs. I know that the Ziggs was the counter pick there. You had your choice of options, presumably into Pantheon.
Yeah, I'm not...
That feels like, you know, Pantheon can roam really well with his Grand Skyfall. But then you just have a bomb follow you as well. And, like, I don't want to say that equalizes everything, but Ziggs can wave clear against him. Doesn't really get bullied by Pantheon. That feels like a pretty solid pick, right?
Yeah, and Ziggs does basically get, as you point out with the ult, it's like the counter roam, but he only has to walk a third of the way down the river to participate. He doesn't actually have to appear in the lane, as does Senor Pantalones. Also, I'm pretty sure that lane just goes, Ziggs should be poking Pantheon, and Pantheon should probably want to roam, because I don't think he wants to sit there against the Ziggs for any extended period of time.
Yeah, and then if you look at where he's roaming to, there's not a huge amount of setup for it, so it feels like the Pantheon either is the initiation for that roam, or you have to coordinate with Wukong as well.
Yeah, or you're just doing it reactively to an overcommit somewhere.
Meanwhile, RotM has the straightforward idea. You're going to sit there and scale for a little bit, and then once you scale, you're going to siege and poke. And that's a pretty easy to execute game plan overall.
Yeah, they have the nice stand very far away and please try and fight us. It will not go well. We have the Ornn.
Yeah, and they still have the opportunity to get a little bit aggressive with the Braum Tristana early. It's kind of... These are fun team comps. We should see, I think, Nine-Tailed Fox trying to initiate a lot of the action, and we'll see how well RotM responds to it.
Although we could always be surprised because, like you mentioned, Braum early always has the potential for surprising shenanigans. Winter's Bite, very strong poke ability, surprisingly enough. Not that you should use it just for poking, but it hurts, and if Tristana takes Hail of Blades, then you can proc Braum's passive pretty quickly. Especially in something squishy like a Brand. I don't think he enjoys that very well.
Yeah, it's going to be hard, I think, for him to walk up, but at the same time, if you walk forward as Braum Tristana, you're going to catch a pillar to the face and start burning, so we'll see how they manage their ranges against each other. I think the auto spacing will be particularly important. Do we sound
And it has
official enough?
it has the potential to be an extremely volatile lane, but now that we've said that, it will be like the most passive lane we've ever witnessed. So surely this means that we've spent too much time talking about bots, so nothing will happen on that side of the map for the first 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Every time. Also, one of these days, I'll get to cast a Milio game. You won't be banned eventually.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
I emphasize eventually.
And then I would have to learn the names of his abilities, and that seems a little rough. So.
One of them is Cozy Campfire, and one of them is Warm Hugs. Cozy Campfire is his W, and Warm Hugs is his E. And his Q is like Super Mega Fire Kick or something.
It
definitely sounds...
Lionel Messi! A goal! And then his
that's
R
the full
is,
ability name.
And then his R is Mikhail's Crucible.
But AoE, and better. What if Mikhail's but AoE and cleanses suppressions? Riot Games asking the real questions. How does Gwen Orange shake out? You're the resident Gwen expert. What does that lane look like?
I get that. I give that vibe off. But I've played Gwen a grand total of twice on Summoner's Rift.
You don't need to tell the viewers that.
Oh, I'm the play-by-play announcer, so I don't have to have an opinion. Let's go. No, I imagine that Ornn is much stronger than Gwen early on because, well, okay. Gwen beats everyone at level 1. You just kind of E and dash in and just auto-attack people, and you can out-trade like Darius and, champions that are actually good at level 1. But then after that, it gets a little bit harder, and you really want an item or two. You're kind of a Fiora gamer, almost. I don't know if people are unfamiliar with the Gwen champion at this point for me to provide any insightful analysis into laning phase, but yeah, here we go.
Well, everything you say about top lane is a revelation to me.
It's
apparently,
Ghost
according to Lolalytics, Gwen only has a 46% win rate into Ornn, which feels about right.
Yeah, Ornn scales really well and surprisingly effective at brawling early. Wow, did I? Oh, I picked the wrong slide. That's why. Okay.
Oh no.
There we go.
Not the wrong slide.
I just had the wrong league logo up there. We had the NACL Challenger League, which I think a lot of the players in this game have those aspirations, but this isn't quite that level.
Not yet.
This is Radon Division, which is the highest division of MetaShift. So
Radon.
Yeah, they're named after noble gases.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. They were going to have like an uncapped league that was called Noble at the top, and then they just kind of merged it into Radon. But yeah, here we are. Week 1 of Radon action. Make sure to get your radon detectors checked if you're in an area where that's a concern.
There's Brand glowing in the darkness.
Yeah. Do you know how to overcome this particular client issue?
I do not. Enlighten me.
So just bring up your timeline, if it's not already up, and then just wait for a timer to start. And then you click on the timeline, and then hit plus to make sure you're all the way to the far end, and we're good.
Huzzah, we're in.
But yeah, it just freezes in the darkness for some reason. Not really sure.
I always like seeing which champions just do glow in the dark based on their particles.
Ooh, Resius almost walked out of base without items, but went back and got him. Good for him.
Good catch.
Yeah. He was almost out of the fountain and then tailed back for it. So, no harm, no foul, and a 4-point for... I hate... Okay, so if there's someone out there, why is the team the letter N, the number 9, TF? So it's Nine-Tailed Fox is the organization. That's what it says on the logo. Why do you need the letter N and the number 9? Shouldn't it just be the number 9?
Yeah, also it's weird to me that it's N and then the 9, whereas the other way would make more sense. Or it doesn't really. I would get the 9 or something like that, but
I also am not going to cast N9TF as the organization title. Maybe there's an easier way that I'm just, you know, completely missing, but
I'm sure that there's something in there, but I feel like nine-tailed fox is actually easier to say.
yeah, I like 9TF. I think that that's all right. But then you have
Yeah,
Nine
that
Twisted
works.
Fates, but I don't know. I went with 9TFC because they have other organizations. They're all colors, I think. So it's
Oh,
Crimson
we like a
is
good
this team.
theme.
Yeah. All of ours are like Fiddlesticks abilities or skins, for the record.
Oh, true, that's where Spectral came from. That's the spooky blue one.
I think all of my sounds are just quiet. I have had a revelation that I think all of my sounds got turned down, and rather than just turning you up, I need to turn all of the sounds up.
It's you, hi, you're the problem, it's you.
I'm going to turn this sound very slightly up. There we go. Okay. Excellent. You get the nice soundbar on cast. Level 2 hit by Jimmy and Yabby, and they'll just force Baba and Maverick Bob off the way. Sometimes you don't actually look at the names and like internalize what you have to cast for a second. Um,
I feel like we have a good mix too. There are some ones that are like, easy to say seriously, and then there are the others that are like, oh, you do have to read that out.
and I'm sorry, Mr. Baton. I'm hoping it's Brindile. Could be Brindle. Brindle Baton.
Grindeal?
Do you have an opinion on this baton?
No, I don't speak enough French.
If I Google this, is it going to come up with a word?
Probably. Google's very good at finding you an answer.
French fine dining and a lengthy wine list in a sophisticated modern setting with Parisian touches. It means twig.
Oh.
So it'd be
Doesn't baton mean stick?
it does, yeah. Twig stick. Anyway, it'd be Brindee then. And Vbon.
Meanwhile,
with the
top
solo
lane.
kill in top lane on Mr. Twigstick.
No time to discuss the
Mr.
intricacies of the French
Shaft
language.
is in trouble. Oh, he just dodged out of the way of the mines. X-Craze walks forward and finally hits him with the bouncing bomb for a kill in the mid lane. And now Data and Resius scrapping away. A little bit of extra damage from the minefield. I don't think it's enough to finish off Resius, but he's still sticking around. Goes back in, flashes forward, and picks up the first kill for the Nine-Tailed Foxes.
Oh, that was a series of events that all happened back to back there. It's certainly a good time for the ROTM solo laners, though, which I think bodes well for their plan of scale. If you are getting first blood top lane and getting a kill mid lane, especially putting Pantheon behind, not a champion that does very well if he's not snowballing, historically.
Yeah.
He sort of either one-shots you or dies. Those are his options.
I'm very curious how many mastery points Vbon has on Ornn. It's probably an insane number, but a lot of comfort up there on the top side.
Familiar with the God of the Forge?
Yeah, This is probably the most I've ever Googled anything during the middle of a game, but we're gonna go for it. Yeah, 395,933 current on Ornn.
Oh.
Not as many as I expected, to be honest, but just a couple of mastery points on Ornn.
Just a few, a handful. He might have played the champion once or twice. Maybe even thrice.
He's just kind of showing off at this point. Brindee
feels a little mean.
Went for the dagger and now has Resius to try to help him out. Flash forward, looking for the Bellows Breath, but can't quite find the amount of damage that he needs. Just getting wailed on by Wukong in the meantime. Trying to escape, can't quite hit the Q, doesn't have the W back up, and Gwen is going to pick up the kill in the top lane to even things up.
And just like that, it's now 2-2, although that's still if that were an honorable 1v1, I don't think that goes quite so well for Gwen.
No.
Well, she was ghosting. Maybe she manages to escape on her own. It's not impossible we could have seen some alcove gaming.
Oh, Mr. Shaft going in. Have to use the bouncing, the satchel charge away. A little bit of damage being exchanged. Data trades one back. Now looking for Mr. Shaft. I don't... He wants to try to turn this around, but I don't think that he really has the capability to. Bowling Ball will pick up another one for Data, and the Blast Cone has to be used by Maverick Bob to get out to safety. 4-3 for Crowstorm thus far.
Certainly an exciting beginning theme, and it was, I'd like to put an excellent ult by X-Craze before he died that managed to catch both of them. Not quite in the center, but he did contribute his final chip of damage even as his little Yordle exploded.
Yeah,
Ziggs does have a pretty violent death animation.
Yeah, it is kind of tragic the way that the thing that he loves the most just kind of explodes on him, and that's the way that he goes. But
I think it's poetic in a way. Like, would Ziggs want to die any other way?
Probably not.
I think it's interesting that he's apparently involved with Shurima now, according to Runeterra lore.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's... I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure he was a Shurima champion. Or maybe he just wound up in Shurima decks.
I have no approximate knowledge about this, so I'm not going to claim to pretend, but he's just Bandle City and LOR. That's all I got.
Oh, is he? I thought he...
Yeah, he gets played with a lot of Shurima cards, because you go Ziggs Talia.
Well, there we go.
And
That makes
Talia's
sense.
Shurima. Because Bandle City cards aren't very good, other than like Pokey Stick, which got rotated, which is a whole discussion that I'm not willing to have because I have fallen out quite a bit with the whole LOR community.
All right, quick, let's share our our opinions on a game we don't play.
So aside from seeing most of the new champions and going, neat, I don't pay a huge amount of attention to LOR at this point.
Yeah, I look at the card art and I look at the things of like, oh, I hope that one becomes a champion in League of Legends someday. Like, what's her name? Corna Veranza? She'd be fun.
Oh, Corinna? Yeah. Would be very fun. And now they have 2 champions of their own that are non-league champions that are labeled as champions, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm forever sad that we didn't get Nora in League. At least not yet. I really wanted a mage that pairs well with Yuumi bot lane, but now that Yuumi doesn't give adaptive force, I don't think that's going to happen.
But yeah, you got Nora, you got Jack. Jack's pretty cool. He just came out.
I'm sorry, they have Jax and Jack now?
They don't have... I guess Jax is a champion, yeah. No, his name's just Jack.
No.
He's like a fish guy.
Oh.
And he does coins.
I was excited for a second, and then you told me apparently I'm just a fish. Wasted potential.
It's a 2,000 gold lead for Return of the Middle Sticks. There hasn't been a huge amount of action since we started talking about LOR cards, so...
No, they always let us go off on like the worst tangents, and we have something mildly... Okay, now,
well,
there we go.
Yeah, Data's looking for a gank in mid lane. They'll be able to finish off Mr. Shaft without any particular issue. I have now realized the sexual connotation of Mr. Shaft, but...
You only just got it?
I realized it about the second time that I said it. It wasn't the first time, so credit for that. But
see, when we were talking about like some of these names are interesting to say, that was the very first one I looked at and went,
Oh, I was thinking Maverick Bob and Baba. I'll be honest when you said that. Resius is going in, big Cyclone. Not quite enough damage to finish off Yabira. I think he was assuming Baba would be able to get the kill. He does finish off Chimmy, but Yabi able to escape. They'll take a little bomb for their trouble, but nice little play bottom lane for NTF and N9TF. 9TF.
Nine-tailed fox. The foxy grandpas. You know, the foxes.
The foxy grandpas.
I already invent nicknames for league champions, so why not just start doing it for the team? I promise I won't. Then no one will have any clue what I'm talking about ever.
Well, it's okay if you come up with them during one cast, like you can canonically follow, but when you use it in the next one, that's when it gets difficult. Dana's looking for a gank in top lane. Vibon just explodes. That was so much damage from Brindi Baton. And the Gwen now 2-1, looking a lot more threatening than just a couple of seconds ago. Does lose the entire turret for her trouble, though.
Yeah, it is an interesting trade of let me pull up and check the gold.
Chimmy walked through the turret into enemy territory to look for this gank. A little bit of sleeping time going on for Resius, and he's going to fall to the... I wanted to call out the weapon of Lilia, but I don't actually know. It's just like a...
It's a... Oh, what's the word? It's a sensor, isn't it?
Sensor.
I think one of her abilities does call it like Lilia swings her sensor around or something.
It does say swings her. It's Blooming Burst. It's the Q. Oh, that's a really great spear from Mr. Shaft. Jesus
Oh
Christ.
no.
Mega Inferno Bomb over the top from X-Craze with a kill underneath the tower, and RotM escapes with an extra kill out of the shenanigans that were happening around mid lane.
Shenanigans is a very good word for it. That was a series of events.
Yeah.
Back and forth. I did like the Braum walking between the towers to arrive and participate. That was quite interesting.
Lilia definitely uses a sleep stick. Yeah, why not? Alright, I think I have a second to look. Whirls her sensor.
It is a sensor.
Yeah, whirls her sensor. Also,
Oh my God.
specifically, she whirls it. Doesn't twist it or...
Whirl it, but whirls it.
Yeah, whirls it.
Like a dervish.
What is a dervish?
A whirling dervish?
I know what a... Like, I've heard the phrase whirling dervish, but like...
It is like a Turkish folk dance that's related to Islamic culture and history, I believe. I think they're specifically Turkish, or at least Anatolian. They might predate the existence of Turkey. But they are, basically it's a specific religious dance that I think is connected, like you reach a euphoric state by whirling.
Oh.
Something like that anyway. I'm sure that many people could explain it better than actually know, but that's my,
Yeah,
my explanation.
If I whirl a lot, I just get dizzy, so... Yeah.
Oh.
Gwen
Meanwhile, a
has
little
used...
slap fight top.
Yeah, used all of the ult charges, so a little bit difficult for Baton to continue on this engagement. Oh, Vibon with the Searing charge to interrupt that. Just doesn't quite have that last tick of damage, and now the Ghost coming through. In comes the Ornhorn, but Gwen is immune.
Gwen is immune.
And is able to escape. That was pretty well
we got
timed.
to say the line.
This is the first time that either team has paid attention to Dragon here at 14 minutes. RTM able to take that one with relatively little contest. They'll even get the knock-up onto Resius, so he's in a lot of trouble. Chimmy, unfortunately, takes the kill with the overhand chop from Braum, and, you know...
That is a very dead monkey.
Yeah. An accurate assessment. Dragon +1 kill for ROTM. They're continuing to snowball their lead slowly but surely. There hasn't been a big moment, but here's a chance for the Foxes to get back on the board, and Mr. Shaft with the spear for the kill. X-Craze, though, undeterred in mid lane, continues wailing away on the tower. He'll have that satchel charge here before too long to be able to explode it, and there it goes.
And now that is an X turret. Which is about how I think we predicted that would go, is Pantheon's going to alt participate in lanes, and Ziggs doesn't have to. Well, kind of can't. If a Ziggs is managing to perfectly answer Pantheon roams, something has gone very wrong for the Pantheon.
It's gone kaput. It's met its maker and lost it. I haven't watched the
Shuffled
sketch.
off the mortal coil.
Yeah, I haven't watched the sketch in a bit, but it is an X-Parrot, so fair enough.
Funny enough, I was just, my mother had never seen the Biggest Dickus sketch from Life of Brian until tonight, so now she's been enlightened to that.
A very valuable contribution to society by John Cleese. Kill in the mid lane for Data, matched by kill in the bottom lane for Resius. Oh, unfortunately dies to the tower, so a little bit of a trade action from X-Craze. He had to burn his stopwatch as well, so won't have that little bit of utility available. They've swapped bottom lane to mid, so Yabby and Chimmy are going to work on assaulting this mid lane tower, which is a little strange considering the bot lane tower is still alive. Granted, there's no neutral objectives. There's not like anything really to say where they should be positioning, but you would think that they would want that bottom lane tower.
I don't know. Maybe after turret plates have fallen, they've actually assessed that Ziggs is the better one to push the tier 1 tower because of the satchel charge and his passive, or I don't know, maybe we'll see them swap back and that was just a holding the lane situation, or maybe they are engaged in helping with the Rift Herald. That looks like that's happening right now. So.
Oh, I forget that I don't have a Rift Herald timer. Yeah, well, there we go. That's definitely something that's going to help out our team. Now they could go burst open the bottom lane tower with the Rift Herald. Or this tier 2 mid. You have a couple of options.
Always good to have options.
Yeah.
Well, Pantheon
yeah.
tapped away. Well, Pantheon has obligingly gone to just answer and also be bot, so essentially just a full lane swap.
Yeah, a little bit of a gank from Data, but gets turned around really nicely by Baton, gets the shutdown on Data, and with the Ghost should be able to escape out of the other side to the safety of Resius. That's a really nice play from Baton. Now 3-1 has the Nashor's Tooth completed. You can see still struggles in the 1v1 against Vbon, but given the opportunity, looks really comfortable on the champion.
Yeah, and now that is a
Resius?
spooky Gwendolyn.
Looking for the dive. They'll catch Chimmy. A lot of damage coming through from the brand, but they just don't have enough to finish him off. The little shield from the Locket paying dividends. X-Craze steps up, hits a big bomb. Baba getting a lot of damage done, able to take him down with the help of Maverick Bob. Vbon flashes over the wall after the Maverick himself, and now Pantheon has joined from the opposite side. Yabby jumps in, only to his death as Resius is able to finish him off, and now Baton is able to join from the opposite side, but now in comes the bowling ball of Data as everybody has finally converged on mid lane. Everyone is here, Smash music playing in the background.
We got the full asynchronous 5v5. No team had all 5 members there at once, but all 10 champions did participate. That's rude. Ornn was trying to build his little item and just lobbed a spear at him.
Alright, we're getting very close, so ornaments going to come online. The dumbest one, and I'm going to call this out ahead of time. Jack Show the Protean.
Comes the unspoken parasite.
Unspoken parasite.
Apparently, I don't know if you're aware of this, Jack Show has a quest that goes with it where I still haven't figured out exactly what triggers it. It might be if you like absorb enough health. Basically, sometimes when champions build that item and do very well, they get a thing like Jack Show has deemed them worthy or something.
Data's
so I have seen
looking for something here mid. Does hit one sleep and then gets turned on by Resius. Looking for Maverick Bob, but just getting torn through by the damage from Baba and Maverick Bob. And now they're funneled into this little choke point. The Xayah Feather's doing a lot of work along with the brand, but our team just takes through it. Baba in trouble. The Ornhorn comes through to secure the kill, but unfortunately Mr. Shaft finishes off Yabby as well. It's a double kill for Yabby, and it's a 2v2 on the map, but unfortunately for ROTM, Baton is just split pushing up on the top side. So at best this is going to equalize as they blow up this mid lane tower, I'm sure, with a satchel charge, and Baton should finish off that top lane tower here shortly as well.
Yeah, that was quite the little scrap there. It is the corridor power, or the funnel power that Xayah and Brand present is very spooky, as we saw between the Xayah Feathers and a bouncing Brand ult. That is a lot of AoE damage that goes into a very small space.
Yeah, and it seems like Data's just a step ahead of everyone else. Like, has the right ideas on the engage, but not quite the time for the backup to arrive. And then by the time the backup has arrived, the Brand and the Xayah AoEs are just going off in the little corridor. And yeah, just a little desynced, but that's, week 1 problems. I think they've scrimmed together like 2 or 3 times total. It's not
It's also the Lilia
terminal.
path that is working against him.
Yeah.
He's just that much faster.
Somehow, against the odds, the Rift Herald that was summoned in base just walks down bottom and gets the tower. So something for the use of the second Rift Herald. That one's Sheila, of course.
Was that second or was that first?
That was second. The first one went into the mid tower early, or the top tower early on and killed it.
Oh, you're right. That happened so long ago, I'd completely forgotten.
Yeah. Shelly into the top tower, Sheila into the bottom tower, and it's a 2,000 gold lead for Return of the Middle Sticks. Not super significant at this point, and there's really not like that huge chasm between any particular roles, which makes it more pronounced, right? It feels much more even because the gold lead is spread pretty evenly across. Your biggest one is 2,000 between your junglers, but then you also have a 1,000 gold deficit in the top lane, so like...
Which evens out the 1,000 gold
Yeah.
advantage in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's small amounts, but they're going to maybe catch Resius here. They'll blow up the clone and then blow him up as well. X-Craze with a well-timed Zanya's Hourglass to be able to avoid Mr. Shaft, and he'll fall. It's a double kill for Yab Yinda, and when they set up front to back like that and just play patient, you can see the power of the Return of the Middle Sticks comp as they pick up 2 more kills and now head to the Baron.
Yes, and that was the second
This
good...
is risky, though. There's a Brand on the enemy team, and their MR is being shredded. Jimmy already very low. In comes Baton as he gets Buster shotted back through, looking for any critical damage that he can. He finds a double kill immediately. Maverick Bob trying to bounce around a little bit of damage, but this is just kind of a mess. It's just Baba left, but he can't quite get the Feather Storm that he wants, and ROTM runs over the fight.
Boy, that was something. Also, hang on, let me catch up. I think you are like 3 seconds ahead of me. There we go. Yep, that would about have covered it.
Just
like, where do you see a Brand?
Baton just a little bit ahead of everyone else. You can see again just the little desyncs from not maybe being as familiar with each other or as synergized as they would be mid-season or late season, but Baton just a little bit ahead, cuts down 2 members of ROTM, but then can't quite finish off everyone else after getting bounced around by V-Bon for a while, and the fight turns on that.
It's just Ghost. It's being that much faster that's working against both Brindil and Data this game. They're just too fast for their own good. I did want to point out we've had 2 excellent stasises from X-Craze so far this game. That one allowed him to live against the Pantheon at first, and the first one with his stopwatch did get the return kill back on Teresius. So those have both been valuable stasises.
Mom?
Thank you.
Dragon coming up in 19 seconds, so RTM wants this one more, of course. That would put them on Soul Point. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of the game, so I'm curious to see how both teams approach this one. It looks like mid-prio for ROTM. They might be willing to go ahead and trade the Baron for this Dragon, just based on how they're set up. Although Chimmy walks in, which is very risky at that point. Takes a lot of damage, is still alive, hanging in there. They're trying to get the Brandalt to bounce, and finally it does, as Baton is able to finish that one off. Now diving forward with those last couple of snips onto Data, but in comes the rest of the help. The Ornhorn launches 2 into the air as they get Hammer Boy bouncy time. They'll get the knock-up on to Baba, but he stays alive thanks to the Feather Storm. Data and X-Craze into stasis as they just try to stay alive. Now a sleep coming through onto the Pantheon. Yabby's on a rampage as he jumps over and picks off the Xayah on the other side of the fight, and ROTM gets a 4-for-1? 3-for-1. Maverick Bob is still alive as well.
But just barely. Also, I once again managed to fall behind you. My spectate stuttered right at the beginning of that fight,
no.
so thank goodness I'm not doing play-by-play.
Yeah, Tower gets satchel charged, but now they might be in a little bit of trouble, although Maverick Bob getting turned around. Yabby flashes forward with the jump in plus the buster shot on Wukong. What a play by Yabby for the double kill.
Yeah, and the Tristana has really come into its own here in the mid-game, now heading towards late game. At first it wasn't it's just Tristana. Tristana without Hail of Blades. definitely was a scaling pick, and now we're seeing the scaling start to pay off as she has hit her 2 items and is going towards her 3rd. While, as I say, that finishes her 3rd item.
Yeah. Plus has the Wormfall and Sacrifice for an extra 1,000 gold of stats, approximately. That feels pretty
Is that
good.
what Kraken Slayer is called?
Oh yeah, it's the worst. It's not the worst, because Unspoken Parasite exists, but it is pretty bad.
Yeah, Jack Show and Unspoken Parasite really feel like they should have gone in the other order to me. It
Yep.
seems weird to call him the Unspoken Parasite when we've already named him.
His name's Jack.
Show.
Yeah, and then you have Leandri's Lament, which is fine. I'm okay with that one.
Yeah,
The
that's
last
a boring
one's
one.
We're not gonna get there probably, but Reliquary of the Golden Dawn, which is a great name actually for Locket, if you can pronounce it, which I can't apparently.
Reliquary?
Reliquary. Reliquary? Yeah.
Reliquary. Presumably, I haven't seen it. I'm assuming that that's
Of the Golden Dawn, which is great.
Oh. It's a Greek political party.
Anyway, Liebdev also points out that the
Macedonian?
Lilia weapon could be a shillelagh.
Oh, yeah. But it does not say whirls her shillelagh.
It does say sensible. Yeah, that's correct.
Maybe we'll get a Shamrock Lilia skin someday to match Malphite, and then it will be a shillelagh.
That's what they really need to do. They need to make Shamrock a full skin line.
Oh, we could have Shamrocka.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, they haven't done a St. Patrick's Day skin in a long time.
Well, they haven't done many overt holiday skins at all recently.
I guess that happens when you have an ever-growing international audience that doesn't quite follow the same holiday calendar as just the United States.
Like, the biggest holiday they celebrate is Lunar New Year. Baba is going to get slept, which, as a solo sleep target, really doesn't seem that worth it. Now some teleports coming in. Resius is going to be the first victim of the fight. Now they're trying to get on. Oh! Baba gets the shutdown, but then walks into the Ornhorn on the backside. Meanwhile, X-Craze and V-Bond dueling out with Mr. Shaft. Yabby couldn't quite get over that fat wall. No one saw the jump. But ROTM wins the fight. Now the teleport in. This is a little bit risky because it's directly onto Maverick Bob, who is just waiting to get a little bit of fire going on X-Craze. I don't know that he can hold against V-Bon in particular, but he definitely has enough damage for X-Craze or Yabby if he can get access to them. Baba is here as well. They'll lose the inhibitor, but it looks like ROTM will be able to get out.
Yeah, once again, these fights are quite interesting. There's a lot of people dying very quickly, and then a few hangers-on at the end of them, and my spectate has stuttered again. Thank you, Riot Games.
It just hates particle effects.
This was just somebody recalling. This time it made it through the fight. It doesn't like V-Bond recalling his Ornn.
I've had that issue before where I get behind as like the person with the stream, which is very weird. And then the next game it's just fine. So it might just be an unlucky game, or like it hates Pantheon, or like something weird. Because
crossing our fingers for next game, and it's not terrible. It's only about 10-15 seconds. But it is repeated, which is a little irritating.
Yeah. Imagine a Riot client behaving correctly. Anyway, it's a 6,000 gold lead for Return of the Middle Sticks. They have definitely a little bit of a stranglehold on this game. We'll see if they can complete the task and finish this one off as the fight's going to break out. Baton has to try to dash out of the backside. Just gets a huge chunk of damage on Yabyinda. Resius is going for it. He's stealthed in, and he's able to find the assassination. Gets the 1,000 gold shutdown on Yabyinda. Baba contributing the damage, able to dodge out of a lot of extra with the Feather Storm. And 1 for 1, but the Wukong for the Tristana is a pretty good trade, and now V-Bond's in trouble as well as Baton's able to snip him down. Chimmy just left to kind of watch with X-Craze. Data's looking for a big flank, though. He doesn't have ult, but he's... I don't know exactly what his plan is. If he's looking for a fight, if he's looking just to get vision on this dragon. But Data is full health. He's got double buff. He's very threatening right now with 3.5 items on his Lilia.
And he is very fast.
He is very fast.
There,
now we're
there's
back
my
to the other
analysis
side. Yeah,
for
Chimmy scrapping it out with Baton. Doesn't really want to keep that up for a sustained amount of time, and he's out. They're going to Pantheon ult in, and X-Craze should be very dead, but is somehow able to kill Gwen on the backside of that. Chimmy falls as well. It's just Data left alive, but Yabby's respawned, but so has Resius. It's Data v3 at the Dragon. Has to be careful about Resius joining. Yabby jumps in, is able to assassinate Mr. Shaft without him getting any damage off. The Dragon goes over to Nine-tailed Foxes. Yabby doesn't have to jump in, but still does, looking for the damage onto Resius. And can he actually win this one? Resius bonks him down, gets the second consecutive shutdown on Yabyinda, and now is left to try to play against Data. He's got a 2-level disadvantage, and now no extra little shield from his Hex Drinker available. So RTM eventually wins the fight. I think that's 7 for 6 overall.
7 for 6. I think that math checks out. I think everybody except Data died the first time around, and V-Bun didn't die a second time? No.
So Yabby died twice.
That makes 6. And then...
Men poop on
I
a rick,
think
men
Resius
deliver
died
new books
twice.
on a rick. Yeah. I spitballed some numbers, and I was hoping no one would actually check the math on it, but now that you have, I'm still pretty sure it's an extra kill for RTM at the end of it, because
think
Data
you're
didn't
right.
die at all, and everyone on Nine-tailed Foxes died, and Resius died twice.
Yeah, so there we go.
Maybe it's 6 for 5? I don't know. It's a mess. Regardless, it's a mess.
It's a net kill for RotM.
Yeah, no net
Well,
gold. The gold has stayed completely where it was because of these shutdowns. 2 consecutive shutdowns on Yabyinda by Resius. So now he's very strong on Wukong despite being 5'10 and 8. So just keep an eye on that one. They're kind of getting herded into their own blue buff. Chimmy really looking for an opportunity to get some damage in. X-Craze has to be careful because he's got Baton over. A lot of damage coming out from the Brand ult. The Ornahorn comes on through just to try to knock up Resius. He'll eventually fall to Yabyinda, who is still alive on the backside of this fight and can turn back around. Data gets a big sleep. X-Craze in for a little bit of damage onto Baba. It's a double kill for X-Craze, and Yabby stays alive thanks to the Buster shot at the last second away on Mr. Shaft. That's a 4 for 2 trade, and RTM
Yes.
going to try to run it down mid against Mr. Shaft. No one
That name.
think about the context of that.
No, just don't... Against Pantheon. They're going to run it down against Pantheon.
Please, Mr. Shaft was my father. Just call me Shaft. Anyway. They get the
that makes
inhibitor.
sense.
They're going to work on the Nexus turrets. Resius is going to be up soon. Maverick Bob up in 4. Yabby jumps away, but only to his death, but it doesn't matter because X-Craze and Data have enough damage to finish off the Nexus for game number 1. A very fun game. There were a lot of explosions, which I think is a positive experience for the viewers. Yeah, what thoughts do you have on the game?
Those were some very interesting fights, which I think you pegged me with, like, they were interesting team comps, and it led to interesting fights where a lot happened up front, and then almost every time both teams had like 2 or 3 or sometimes 1 champion limp away on almost no health, which led to weird things like our 6 for 7 or 5 for 6 or whatever the numbers were team fight, where it went on in theory long enough that people often rejoined. Very strange, and my stuttering did not help me keep up with the chaos.
Yeah, what I did want to have, what I want to see from Nine-tailed Foxes in the next game, the Gwen got ahead and was a menace in the side lane. And I don't know that any single person from ROTM could deal with that particularly well. Maybe Data? But, like, split it out. Like, try to force a 4-man squad and split Gwen out and try to just utilize that little advantage that you have. I think the mistake from Nine-tailed Foxes was grouping too early and trying to actually play into RotM's strength, which was the big team fight moment.
Although it did seem like, at least for a while, even when Brindil Baton had gotten ahead, I think they still had the hardest time fighting Ornn, who had teleport. We noticed that it seemed like when Lilia showed up to gank, Gwen very good at killing the Lilia and winning the 1v2, but was struggling more in the 1v1. So maybe it was based off of a feeling there that they couldn't match the Ornn, who would probably have been sent and then could teleport in. But I agree with you. It did seem like there was an underutilized pressure point in the Gwen. He just sort of wound up in team fights and wasn't quite able to swing them hard enough, and wasn't quite split pushing to create pressure. So who knows? We also could very well see her banned in the next game.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on the main Aegis stream, the Premier team down 1-0 to Team Ambition WHLG or something like that. They have some sort of nonsense acronym that I don't know what it stands for.
Wolg, obviously.
I saw what it meant at one point, and then I immediately forgot it. Pushed it out of my brain. But anyway, they're on to game 2 up there. Oh, and Hoarder's playing Cassante, which is not a champion I've seen him play. So I'm kind of interested in that.
That he's still a popular champion. I still don't know what he does. I mean, I do, but I don't. I think we were talking about that, during the Spectral game, that neither of us are totally clear on Cassante's niche.
Yeah, they're also playing against Levitate and Snow, who just qualified for NACL, by the way, for Team Tony Top, who beat Team Fish Taco 3-2. Very sad about that one. The homies at Team Fish Taco.
Tragic. We're going to play taps. Or whatever the appropriate morning song would be.
But really cool for them. We actually played them during the NACL qualifier that was our first game. So they went from playing Return of the Middle Sticks to qualifying for the Challenger League. So that's pretty cool for them. That they had the honor to play Return of the Middle Sticks, not any of the other stuff.
No, who needs that? We are the main event. What else could one possibly desire? I am doing my best to pull the cord out of my headset tonight. I keep shifting my shoulder, and I'm really just trying to get it out of there.
Alright, Nine-Tailed Fox Crimson has chosen red side for game 2, which means I have to shift all of my graphics around. So.
Tragic. Very inconsiderate.
I'm sure it's not as bad as a lot of producers have it, because I'm very lazy about the way I have this set up, because I know that I have to try to do it and cast at the same time.
Yeah, where's our behind-the-scenes tech team?
It's just me.
Where's hair and makeup?
Luckily, we never have to appear on stream because I don't want to.
There's something ingrained in me, though. I keep trying to, make faces at the non-existent camera, which is... If you could even see how my monitors are set up, it doesn't even make sense which one I look at. So,
no, a lot of the other amateur leagues have the cams on. I could definitely do it if I needed to, but I don't know that there's a huge intrinsic value in you being able to see me.
Please, the spectators are clamoring for it. Everybody wants to see the moneymaker. Wow, they actually reorganized the sides they were on very efficiently. That was satisfying to watch. I don't think I've ever seen that executed quite so smoothly.
We have veterans of the amateur scene, I guess. I'm harassing their top laner now. Unlucky. Get me some sleep.
Wow,
I don't.
rude.
It's Friday night, Vbon. We can go all night if we want to. It wouldn't be good for my voice, but
And a wild Friday night. I don't have to work until noon tomorrow. I also have all the time in the world.
but
My
also
late Saturday.
thanks a lot for the 12-month subscription. Really cool.
Can I renew mine yet? No.
Allure, atase, do. Yeah, fair enough. We're popping off. I'm going to hazard a guess at Mr. Twigstick being French or Canadian. Anyway,
French Canadian, in fact.
potentially. We're into draft for game number 2. I have messed up the scoreboard entirely. I have now just realized, so I will fix that in a second.
In the meantime, we have the Vagar and Jarvan bans, I believe, repeated from RotM's side, while Nine-Tailed Fox has banned out Lilia, which is fair. Data did quite well on that champion the last game. Certainly seemed to rack up a fair bit of damage and had some excellent sleeps. And oh no, the Milio ban again. My poor small child.
He's gone. He cannot be Mexican today.
Ow. And RotM answers with the Wukong ban. And then, so both junglers from last game banned out. We will have to see new junglers from both teams. And Jinx finishing off the ban list, who I think was banned by Return to the Middle Six last time. So
Yeah, probably
seems
a
like a
contested
fairly
pick.
good, yeah.
B1 Ornn? B1 Ornn, let's go!
Ornn
The
Gaming.
prophecy has foretold the blue one Ornn, and so it shall be written. The Church of Ornn has once again gathered. And amen.
Blow the horn.
Blow the horn.
Vayne?
Vayne would be very interesting.
Oh,
That is very
and
interesting.
it is. That is a
Theoretically,
locked-in Vayne.
theoretically, would be very annoying to play Ornn into Vayne.
Yes, that
And that's
could
where I'm
be
going to
Vayne
start.
top.
But yeah, could also just be a more traditional Vayne bottom. Could be Dylan, we have to lock Vayne here and play him mid. It's not mid. Victor.
Probably not mid.
Alright, well. Shut that down immediately. Kind of a weird draft thus far.
Yeah, exciting to see Vayne, though. I don't think... It's been a while since Vayne has been a relevant champion. Apparently she's been a notoriously annoying one top lane still, but we haven't talked about Vayne in a long time.
Vayne's
She
also
did get
a
her,
really easy champion to cast because she doesn't actually do anything other than tumble.
Mechanics.
Mechanics. Viego, we'll get to see if we see Mr. Chad reset or if we see Kevin.
Ooh. And we get the Ari.
And Ari for X-Craze. That's a very comfortable pick for him and one that is pretty strong into Victor overall.
And
Poppy
the Poppy lock-in.
doesn't really clarify anything. Poppy
No?
good into Ornn. Also pretty good jungle right now. Seems like it would be fine into Viego.
Yeah, can she stop his ult, or is his ult not a dash, it's a blink?
Viego's?
Yes.
Viego's ult is a blink, but he's got the dash
Okay.
on his stun.
Okay, at this
and-
point I'm always unclear on what's a very fast-moving dash, because there are a few of those in the game, and what is a blink.
I'm pretty sure it's a blink. I don't think it gets.
I
stopped
think
by
you're
Poppy.
right.
I would just assume newer champion more power. Caitlyn
Typically.
Varus gone. We're just chipping down the old ADC list. This should probably be Tristana. It's Sivir though, so Tristana's still available. No Xayah. This could be Tristana, I guess, and take it away. If you're concerned about that, Yabi. It wasn't spectacular early game or anything, but late game showed kind of the typical flair that he has on that champion.
Yeah, although those are, I would say, traditional ADC bans for a Vayne bot lane. I think Caitlyn and Sivir are two of the ADCs that notoriously make short-ranged Vayne a little bit sad.
Yeah, they're definitely... Well, so you have that aspect, and you have the fact that ROTM has banned more bottom laners. Oh, that's MF. Okay. The non-pick is Misfortune for Nine-Tailed Fox, which means that it's Vayne top. So,
Yikes.
or MF support. I guess still unclear.
It could be MF support. That's an option. Once upon a time, that was a very relevant pick.
Twitch. Okay. We got Twitch in the bottom lane. What do you pair with
Who do
Twitch? Is it Braum again? Or are you going to see an Enchanter to go with that? I think the options are pretty open. Renata Glass.
Ooh, Renata. Renonqua Glonk.
Renuqua Gluck locked in.
Oh, I like that. Been a while since we've seen a Renata game. She's one of those champions who got released and then was very popular for a while, and then I don't know if she was. I think she was nerfed a little bit, and then the meta shifted a little bit, and then it feels like we haven't seen much of her since. So nice to have her back.
Now, so you have MF, so you need some setup for MF. Braum's okay. Yeah. So that's Vayne top.
It is Vayne top.
Which I personally just loathe, but makes for some interesting gaming, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it would not be a fun experience as an Ornn, or really any top laner.
Yeah,
like in a lane that I have.
I love Professor popping up sometimes in these games, and you get to learn things about players, you know? Like
Oh,
Vbon.
what does Professor have to say?
So Vbon, great with Ornn. Yeah. Bad with Scion. That's very funny. And bad with Cassante.
Oh.
And that's the things that we get about Vbon. I also really like Chimmy's. It says that he's Emilio lover. And he's also great with Lucian, which I think I really want to see the Lucian support. But he's bad with Jax.
We are just all over the rift on that one.
Yeah, and bad with Lulu. So, yes, Emilio, no Lulu, apparently, is the answers.
So what you're telling me is that someday Milio might not be banned, and we just might get a Milio game.
It seems like we definitely have a Milio player, at least.
Huzzah.
Who is at least committed to the bit. And I think that champion's really strong, and it's not going to get played at MSI, because it's on the global ban list. And it's going to continue to be strong, like, way too strong for a while, if I
think the consensus in higher elo is that champion is good, but manageably so.
Yeah.
His win rate isn't crazy. His ban rate has continued to decrease pretty normally. His pick rate has also decreased. And like most scaling enchanter picks, he does tend to do better at higher elos than lower elos. Oh, interesting. He's actually picked more in gold than he is in silver. Fun fact there.
Huh. The power of the enchanter.
I relate to that. You don't want to really play enchanters with a lot of silver ADCs. It's a painful experience.
I feel personally called out by this, but I will let it slide this time. I have to rebrand on the stream. I spent all of last year calling myself a bronze player. I made it back to silver. We're doing it.
Next year, gold player, or
Yeah.
perhaps, dare I say, plat player.
You know, sometimes you have to play ranked games in order to have an idea what your rank is. And I have no idea.
It is,
But, you know, Riot
it is in fact
Games has
the
determined
worst
Silver
spot.
4.
Well, there you go. Wait, what about in black?
Oh, I'm Silver 2? 1? Somewhere in there. Still
There
Silver.
you go.
Yeah. Slightly better. Um,
Next
yeah.
stop, challenger.
Next stop, Challenger. We're shooting up along with the rest of the Crowstorm boys. Did want to give particular shout outs. Yabby hit Masters for the first time ever, so that's really neat.
Og.
And Vbon is pretty close from what I remember. He's Diamond 1 right now. So, really impressed by the way the boys have been climbing. When we originally were going to sign up for MetaShift, which was ages and ages ago at this point, we were looking at the point totals, and we would have been like in the top division, but at the very bottom of it. And they have climbed enough that we are now the #1 team in terms of points in MetaShift. So,
Wow. Well, way to go to them.
Kind of soft issued the challenge to them, and then they've definitely impressed me. They also flame me every chance that they can get. So,
But
right.
they have admirably risen to the occasion.
I don't want to, reveal too many secrets. Vbon has posted in the team chat a picture of Warden's mail, a picture of Ninja Tabbies, and a picture of a Bramble Vest. I wonder what his idea for this game will be.
I think he's building MR. I think he's really spooked by Victor and is going to rush a fawn. Or perhaps also the MFE, an ability that you desperately need to resist against. Poppy do any magic damage?
That's a question. I don't think so.
Does her dash stopping thing do magic damage to you? That feels like an ability that would be magic
That
damage for
her
some reason.
Ult might be magic damage as well.
Let's see. Poppy W does do magic damage. Also 70% AP scaling, AP Poppy when.
W plus
her ult
auto
does
with
physical.
passive. Okay. Passive auto, says Baton.
Oh yeah, there it is. Her buckler does in fact do magic damage that the
I know-
shield scales.
I know it was a meme build for a while. You'd go Lichbane Static Shiv, and you just hit W and throw your buckler at somebody.
Oh god.
And that was a thing that people did for half a second.
Rip static shiv. Now you're just called the Zeri. And the Hextexel.
True.
We removed the item and then made it a champion and a dragon.
And yet they've never brought back Deathfire Grasp. I guess they kind of did it in RE Charm was kind of Deathfire Grasp for a second.
No, we just pre-durability patch. That was just the whole game. Who needed DFG when everything one-shot everything? Remember old AP Tristana with DFG, where she would just jump in, press E on you, DFG you, and then leave? But no, she'd usually ult you too, because that also scaled with AP.
We have the Hurricanes Islanders hockey game up right now. One of the Hurricanes players gets dumped into the Islander bench and then like struggles to get up and just punches a guy for no reason and then leaves.
You know, like you do.
Yeah, apparently there's a reason according to my wife, but from my vantage perspective over here of being able to watch pretty much none of it, it looked kind of uncalled for, but you know.
Also, fun fact, if you thought Vbon had a lot of mastery points on Ornn, Brindil Baton, in fact, has 40,000 more on Vayne. So,
Oh,
fun fact that toggling the mastery info showed me.
interesting. Well, here we go. Game number 2. Eventually.
At some point. Who's glowing this time? Viego.
Yeah, you can see the outline of his sword, and you can see the top of Orn's head glowing.
And maybe... No, none of Ari is glowing. Never mind. Yeah, it's just... It's also Orn's hammer. That's the other thing that's glowing there.
All right, I can click the bar, so.
I can too. Fingers crossed for no stutters, please. I'd like to actually see the team fights as they happen.
Next slide, please.
Although, you know, your play-by-play is great. It's like I'm really there, so I find I don't miss much. The only problem is when you're out of breath from doing said play-by-play, and I then need to offer any kind of insight, and in fact, I am 20 seconds behind being able to do so.
Yeah, I used to do essentially the equivalent of radio for hockey.
Oh.
And by essentially the equivalent, I mean there was a camera, but like from that angle, what are you seeing? Not much, so. I've always thought it'd be interesting to try to do like a radio cast of a League of Legends game, but I don't know that you can quite capture a lot of what happens in a League game without the video component, at least a little bit.
I think you could. It would be naturally for an audience that already knows everything that's happening. But you could describe most things that occur in a game, and people would know what you were talking about.
It would be really hard, I think, to weave like the positional info is, I think, the biggest detraction that you don't have from it.
Yeah,
from
you'd need like
watching-
an auctioneer cadence almost to like quickly inform the viewers where everyone was standing.
Or there would have to be better call-outs for like particular places on the map, because a fight breaking out like up in bottom lane as opposed to back in bottom lane is very different in the way that it is contextualized.
Yeah, and also wave position and the size of waves is something that's easy to see, yet would take a lot of time if you had to say it every time.
Yeah. It's an interesting thought. I know that they did something very briefly. I'm sure that they didn't get too many viewers or listeners because they didn't continue doing it, but I know that there was like an attempt at one point for something like that.
You could do some manner of like, I guess nowadays, even though it's basically radio, we would call it a podcast. Since that has completely taken over the medium.
Ah yes, I listened to my favorite podcast today, FlyQuest versus Golden Guardian.
I'm just we don't have more like old school radio radio plays done as podcasts. I feel like that's an underexplored genre.
Vmon's trading relatively well up in the top lane, considering how aggressive Baton has been trading into him. You can see the effect on his CS totals, but his health bar is really hanging in there, which is impressive.
That looks like it's going a bit better than I feared it might.
I'm honestly kind of surprised he didn't go for like a refillable pot and just buy the Dorn's shield up there, or something to that nature, just a little bit more sustained. But Vmon, very confident. He went Comet, which we can talk about in a second, as Chimmy and Yabby in a little bit of trouble. Resius gets a little bit of damage down onto Chimmy. He's very low, just trying to fight back underneath the tower. Now into the fight or die, and he'll live thanks to the first blood from Yabby on the Expunge.
That was the power of the Renata pick. That was a really nicely executed fight or die, and a lot of work that went in from the turret there. That was almost a perfectly executed dive, but unfortunately... I mean, if you have any other support there, you just get the kill and maybe Braum dies?
Yep, and now top lane, Baton has to use Ghost in order to avoid the gank. Data gets a little bit of damage down. This is This is a rough spot though for Vbon with the wave state the way that it is pushing into Vayne right now. It's gonna be hard for him to clean up these minions, which is why Data is up here. And they're gonna shove it all the way into tower before he goes back. It looks like.
What do you think it's like being in this in this situation where your junglers do competent things?
You know, sometimes Silver Solo Queue just happens.
Sometimes your Fiora rages and randomly shows up in the river, and you snowball the game off of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that happens at most elos, if I'm being honest. But League players not exactly known as a mentally well
Stable bunch.
Yeah.
We're all ill in our own way. What is playing League of Legends, if not a form of mental illness? Basically, it's Stockholm Syndrome.
Apologies if there's extra noise in the background. The Kale is demanding to go outside repeatedly and vociferously. After just going
Good
out.
vocab word.
Yeah. I have to show out my librarian vocabulary every once in a while, you know.
RotM word of the day calendar when?
Data's swinging around toward bottom lane, maybe going to look for a gank here. He's not on top of vision currently, and he'll have his W if he wants to be spooky and walk in a little bit quicker, and there it'll come in into vision. Baba has the little scurry away from the strut passive, gets ignited by Chimmy, and that's going to be about the amount of damage that gets done to him.
It was a good look.
Oh, now Resius is here. They'll get the pin onto the wall. Data still has flash away. They get the Braum stun as well. Data trying to fight his way out, but it's just not quite enough damage. Resius taken a little bit low. Oh, Vbon, I didn't see exactly what happened. I'm going to assume he tumbled underneath the Ornhorn. X-Craze, meanwhile, gets some auto attacks, and the solo laners get solo kills for Return of the Middle Sticks, while the jungler is the one that dies in a surprise twist.
Oh, that was a series of events happening all at once across the map. Interesting that of all the solo kills to happen top, I did not expect Ornn to get the first solo kill. Ooh, that charm.
Yeah, good charm to interrupt the dash. Now has to be careful about the tower dive. The Winter's Bite isn't going to be enough damage, and the Ornn teleport going to ensure that they can't continue to the dive onto X-Craze.
You know, Chimmy sort of a dueling Baba on the misfortune here. Not doing too poorly.
I think, unfortunately for Baba, that skin is just not quite the correct animal for the name.
No, Battle Sheep misfortune when?
Yabby looking for the damage, but the Braum shield putting in work, now level 6, hits the Rat-a-tat, sprays and prays over the top. Maverick Bob will fall to the damage of Yab Yinda, and they will pick up the kill eventually.
Is it Rat-a-tat? No, it's spray and pray now.
It is spray and pray, but I don't know. A lot of people didn't like Rat-a-tat-tat, which is why it's spray and pray again, but I think they're both equally good names.
Yeah, I actually liked I think Rat-a-tat-tat grew on me. It's certainly more fun to say.
They both accurately describe what's happening, which is awesome.
Yes.
It's no Finale's Funkin, which people miss for some reason, and that's just a really stupid name. Final Spark is significantly better.
I'm sorry. Finale's Funkin?
Yeah, that was Lux Ult's name.
Why was she randomly German? Or Latin? Is that Latin?
I don't know.
Funkin definitely sounds German to me, but who's to say?
I have no idea about the context of the name other than it was the name of the Luxult in League of Legends.
Alright, my turn to do our light Googling.
Well, 4-1 for Return to the Middle Sticks early on. 1.5, under 1.5. 1.2 thousand gold lead, approximately, for ROTM. A lot of that on Yabi in the bottom lane right now, and going to be forced to show it off here as we do get the hostile takeover from Chimmy, just trying to do anything that he can to stay alive, and it'll happen again. Yabi is able to keep Chimmy alive for just an extra second until the Chaos Storm comes over the top for Mr. Shaft to equalize.
Renata looking like a very solid combination with the being in the Renata revive. Your fight or die moment does give Twitch time to stack up his. What are the stacks actually called? I know expunge is when you expunge them, but I'm unclear on what his passive is actually called.
It's just poison, neurotoxin, maybe something like that. Anyway, Data is in bottom lane, and that's going to spell some problems for Baba and Maverick Bob, as Yabi and Data will split a couple kills down there. Deadly.
No, you're right. It is called Deadly Venom.
Oh, Venom. Deadly neurotoxin's the portal thing, right? Anyway, today the 13th anniversary of Portal 2 coming out. Don't think about that too hard. GLaDOS says in 13 years that she's going to kill Wheatley, so this is officially the day that Wheatley died.
Oh no.
Also, if you haven't played Portal 2, acquire that and play it. It's very fun.
Apparently, Funkeln doesn't actually translate to anything. It really was just the name of the Luxol.
Yeah, that's what I thought, which is very strange. Baba in a lot of trouble. Maybe in extended amount of trouble, as he does die. Ornhorn coming through, gets the knock up onto Baton, and the kill comes through for X-Craze. Now gets the extra dash. Resius gets tracked back into the team. X-Craze, just able to escape that one. They'll take down V-Bon. It's a double kill for X-Craze, the extra one for Maverick Bob. And now Data and X-Craze have to try to extricate themselves from this situation. Mr. Shaft is here. He gets the shutdown on the Ahri. Data's stuck inside the gravity well, but it looks like he'll be able to escape.
Well, and that was a tragic ending to what was otherwise an excellent series of RE mechanics from X-Craze. There's not much you can do about being Victor-E'd there when you have almost no mana and no alt charges left, but we did get to see some wonderful of Ahri's infinite dashes happening. Just the continuous resets as kills were picked off.
Yeah, really good. Even the last one to get Resius further into the team to make sure that they secured the kill on the Poppy. Worthwhile to use. But yeah, 4,000 gold lead now for Return of the Middle Sticks. It's a big 10-4 on the scoreboard, good buddy. And that wasn't very funny, apparently. I don't think it's very funny. So.
I was going to say thank you, but you seemed like you were going somewhere else with the sentence, so I didn't want to interrupt.
I'm done.
Well, I appreciated it. I thought it was humorous.
It's Friday at 9 p.m. It's time for bed. Either that or very typically it's gaming time, you know.
One or the other.
But yet, here we are trying to talk for a living, which is rough. As it turns out, sometimes stringing one word after the other gets a little difficult.
English, very hard language.
Yeah, meanwhile, trying to string one dragon after the other are 9-tailed fox. Oh, Mr. Shaft just stays alive. The red buff kill onto the Ahri for the solo. I thought that he had that one, but just enough sustain and healing and shielding from Mr. Shaft. Now Yabi in trouble as he gets pinned into the wall. The MF doing so much work. Chimmy just trying to keep him alive. He's got the fight or die on top of him, and he's fighting for it. It's a double kill for Yabi. Somehow, Braum killed MF during that one. I saw the Braum. Oh, it's because Data was Braum at the time.
Yes.
There's a lot of confusing things that are going to be happening on that kill call out, thanks to Viego, thanks to the hostile takeover. All we need to know is that RTM won the fight. Mr. Shaft is still here, now full health. Data and Chimmy trying to catch him. They get the handshake, get the damage down. Data doesn't have the reset for the Heartbreaker, so he's got to take the blast cut back out to safety. Chimmy is going to take a pink board, which might be a little bit risky here. It's fine. We're just going to trade wards. All right.
It was satisfying watching Renata and Victor auto together. They're actually very similar auto patterns, almost.
Yeah, that's fair to say. Well, that felt like it should do a little bit more damage. That was a full Q. But X-Rays stands in, takes the turret in mid lane for the first turret kill of the game. And now Data has walked his way back into a little bit of trouble. Resius and Maverick Bob find him there, but he'll scoot a boot and get out thanks to the smoke, I can't think of the name anymore. The mist.
The mist.
The black mist.
The black mist.
Yabby has to try to kite back away. Resius gets a little knock up onto him, but he's got the pins and needles going. Baba can't really get into a good position. Doesn't have ult, which is maybe more costly. Will eventually die to the poison. It's a double kill for Yabby. Mr. Shaft is here, but unfortunately for him, X-Craze has the flank on the backside, and they'll pick up 4 kills in the river for nothing.
And meanwhile, top lane, it's still not going terribly for Vbon.
Yeah, he's hanging in there, which is all you really need to do against the Vayne, as long as
I mean, he has the tab eyes online, he has the bramble vest now, so he's through the hardest part of facing the Vayne, I would say.
Yeah, it still, once Vayne can get an item or two, gets a little bit difficult to deal with, but he's definitely put a stop to the real danger zone of facing Vayne top, and is now firmly into the part where he can dictate a little bit, he can push back a little bit, and he'll start catching up a little bit in CS potentially.
Yeah, we could say he's survived the scary part of facing Vayne top, and going forward, they're still just fighting Vayne.
Yeah. And a Vayne who is a little bit off the tempo of the rest of the game. Yabby takes a lot of damage, but is able to escape. The ults have been pretty good from Bob, but hasn't been able to successfully find the kills. Maverick Bob trying to chase down his lane partner, Chimmy. Another nice handshake. He's been really solid on this Renata pick.
Yeah, I fell behind at some point again. There we go, now I'm caught up. I didn't even notice that one.
Ooh. Well, completed Blade of the Rune King and Kraken Slayer now for Yabby, so he's going big, and he gets a Zeal. I didn't see what he was sitting on. He had Bork plus a component of Kraken Slayer, and then now he's full Kraken Slayer plus an extra Zeal, so very dangerous on the Twitch. Vbon gets stopped by the W from Resius, gets knocked back in. He should eventually die here, and yeah, there it is. Baton finishes him off with the Silver Bolts proc, and they'll get a kill on the top side, so something bad for the Nine-Tailed Foxes.
Didn't eat the alt cooldown, though, interestingly enough.
Huh. Yeah, it definitely drew the lines, but I guess didn't call in the Forge God, so it didn't matter. Yabby is going to be very aggressive and walk directly into the face of Resius. Has to force him to flash away. Baton is ghosting on the top side and gets condemned back into his Data. It just doesn't really matter. They lose the tower in the process, which comes with a small objective bounty, but the rest of it going pretty well. X-Craze just trying to play the gravity well distance, and he does. The Leandres finishes off the kill for him, and it's a solo kill on the bottom side for X-Craze. It's 20-8 now. It was 10-4, so we've just gone as predicted.
Double.
Yeah.
X-Ray's continuing to find a lot of very good charms this game. You said in login that it's a comfort pick for him, and it has certainly looked like it.
Chimmy and Vbon dueling it out with Maverick Bob and Baba, and now Chimmy has the W ticking. It keeps him alive a third time. It happens again. It's a double kill for Yabienda, and they continue just bullying their way through the Braum MF that these engages have looked good. They get so close to turning everything around, but it's just a couple of health, a little bit of tick left on Chimmy that he keeps staying alive. He's gonna die to Mr. Shaft here. Good roam time from the Victor, but yeah.
Yeah. Renata Twitch continuing to look like a very solid duo. It makes sense. I may have to maybe now when I have when someone hovers Twitch, I know what my support answer is. Although I should not rely on gold and silver Twitches to be quite as responsive as we have seen Yabiin to be, because we have seen him do very well when Renata has the W ticking on her. He is finding targets and bursting someone down to make sure the revive goes through, and it's proven very effective, especially when you manage to kill the MF, and then Braum is just left there kind of sadly by himself.
Well, yeah, that last fight, he flashed over the Braum wall just to make sure that he could get in range of the MF to kill her, which, great heads-up play. I like the rotations from Nine-Tailed Fox. They get the mid lane tower plus the extra little turret bounty. X-Craze can't quite find the charm. He's still looking for it though, but in comes the Keeper's Burden to knock away some of the initiation potential. X-Craze, Yabi, Data's still hanging around in the jungle looking for whatever they can. Runan's Hurricane's complete now on Yabi, so he's got the extra AoE damage to come through. And these fights are about the Twitch. Let's watch Yabi go to work and see what happens. In comes the Ornhorn as Vbon wants to try to play the game with everybody else. Big damage over the wall, though, from the MF ult. It doesn't matter too much, though, as Data just ripping through Mr. Shaft. Master Shaft? Jesus Christ. Baton falls. It's a double kill for Yabi. He stays alive on about 300 health, and they'll turn around and take the dragon.
I think actually he died at one point, and it was the Renata revive that came through once again. I think he managed to duel MF, and having the Renata W meant that he lost but chose to win.
And again, that's just such a good spot for the MF ult. Hidden over the wall by the blue buff there, just layers into 3 or 4 people. But there's no follow-up damage. There's no dive potential from this team from the Nine-Tailed Foxes. The Victor getting close to online, but hasn't been on the same page as the MF, and that's kind of the critical amount of damage they need. It's just a little bit of health bars in these fights, even though it's a huge gold lead for ROTM.
Yeah, and I think these fights that's the gold lead in action, essentially. If MF has another item there, she just wipes them with the ult. But because they're working from the deficit, even the best aimed ult just doesn't quite have enough damage to finish anyone off.
And we have received a second unspoken parasite. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you said unspoken parasite. No, my train of thought has left me.
I'm sorry.
The thoughts only
that wasn't
parasite.
Important to interrupt with. We only get the one new item as well. We get the Divine Sunderer upgrade, which I can't. Oh, it's just DSC. That's what it is. Anyway,
yeah.
Camber Boy bouncy time being experienced by Baton. Yabi is here, and the Expunge picks up the kill. X-Craze with another solo kill in the bottom lane. Now has to escape Resius, which turns out to be pretty easy. You just turn on Foxfire and walk away. Top lane tower finally falling for ROTM. They're cleaning up a couple of these outer objectives, and will start working their way toward the heart of the Nine-Tailed Fox team. Oh my god! That third auto from the Kraken Slayer just chunks through, and now Data can jump on, finish off Maverick Bob. Easy as you like, and ROTM with Baron, which they got at some point off screen, I guess, are just going to run and walk through this base. Resius is the last one left alive. He's going to have Baton here in 5 seconds. I don't know that that's enough to really stop this, and there might just be too much time. They're going to back off. Okay, well, I'm hyping that up for nothing. But
yeah, they're taking the safe approach. Getting the tier 2 mid as well, though.
Yeah, now it's getting into silly gold totals. We're at a 12,000 gold lead. Vbon's going to walk in and present to someone another item. No, he finished his Thornbane.
Of the 12,000 gold, how much of that advantage is on the Twitch? Don't check, just tell me your guess.
He's got an extra item and a half. I'm going to go 6.
You would be exactly right. Well, actually, he just killed something. Now we're up to 7. 6.5. It was 6 when you said it, and then something died.
Yeah, he's a bit strong. He's got a 17 bomb going on the Twitch. We'll see how many more he's able to get, or,
It's
God
also
forbid they throw this one somehow.
been nice mentioning last game that there were some desyncs on some engages that could be the growing pains of a team that's new to playing together. But Yabinda and Jimmy looking very in sync as a duo.
Yeah, definitely.
They have
As much of this lead has been Yabby playing well, Chimmy has also hit his buttons in the correct order at the correct time, which is very good to see. Data is just going to swoop in and say thank you very much as they take another Vayne kill. Oh, X-Craze can't quite find the charm on the wall onto Maverick Bob. The solo laners just pushing by themselves, the controversial 3-2 split push strategy going on.
it's better than the ever controversial one at a time strategy.
Yeah.
An ARAM favorite.
Seems like every time we go over to Chimmy, he's just got somebody in that handshake. X-Craze has found his target, and Baba is no more. In comes the Ornhorn. He's trying to back away from Poppy. That's actually a nice little bit of positioning from Vivon. Be able to knock that one in. The damage from Yabinda is able to collect his 18th kill of the game. And Mr. Shaft is just trying to clear minions in mid lane. Vivon almost dies, but does not. And RotM continues their rampage as they take down the mid lane inhibitor.
Perfectly healthy. I don't know what you're talking about.
Still has teleport to rejoin as well, and is going to show it off.
There it
on his
is.
minion. Data looking for Maverick Bob, but no real reason to overextend here. Now you have 3 waves of super minion. Oh, the flash charm from X-Craze. Just not quite. Just a little bit wide. Alright,
Does
Shirley is...
Yabinda hit 24 kills this game? Does he get 6 more before they close it out?
I don't think so. I think they finish it in one fight, but we'll see. Shirelia's Requiem is apparently the ornament upgrade for Shirelia's.
I don't like that one. I don't think Requiem is like an enhanced version of a Reverie.
Is it still Shirelia's Reverie?
Isn't it? No, it's Battle Song. Okay, then Requiem actually works.
I was going to say, I thought they changed it, because Reverie doesn't indicate that it's an item, right? Neither does Battle Song.
Yeah, and it's also weird that it's Battle Song, but it just looks like a crown. At least that's what I've always assumed Shrelia is. Doesn't it look like some sort of headwear?
It does look like headwear, yeah. No, there's a lot of confusing items in this game. Not the least of which is that one. Baron's gonna spawn. Maverick Bob almost gets to despawn. He takes about 3/4 of his health from an X-Craze combo. There is no way to contest this. Can't even think about it. No cross-map ults, and they'll scoop that Baron up.
Who have looked at that Baron for Nine-Tailed Fox would almost certainly have been suicidal.
Yep, now
Maybe you get the Miracle Steal.
3 waves of super minions off of triple inhibitor with Baron. This is a tough ask for any team.
Not an impossible one, but certainly difficult.
Yeah, and this doesn't really play into the team comp that wants to kind of funnel everyone into the MF and Victor, and it's already gone wrong. Baba's gonna die. It's a double kill for the Twitch, but he gets knocked back into the fountain and dies. The rest of our OTM left to try to scrap this one out. X-Craze into stasis. This might not be the fight that our OTM needed to finish this one off, but Data's still full health. He'll walk back in. Baton low, taken down by Data on a killing spree, and now is turned into Vayne, so he gets some percent health damage. He'll jump into the fountain briefly and take down the Braum, and it's just Resius left alive, and he won't be able to stop the onslaught of Return of the Middle Sticks. They'll finish off the game and the series 2-0.
And what a second game that was. That was probably a little unfortunate if you were a Nine-Tailed Fox fan. Great if you're a RotM fan. But poor MF there, just so many times she was in the right place, ulting at the right time, and just didn't quite have enough damage or enough follow-up to close out any of the fights.
Yeah, it's a 20 bomb for Yabyinda, which is very impressive. And definitely a statement win for ROTM that they are one of the top of the table teams to be taken seriously now for Radon.
Yeah, and I think overall coordination-wise, looking much better. Game 1 wasn't a bad game by any stretch, but they looked even better in Game 2 than they did in Game 1, which of course makes sense in a series of any kind.
All right. Well, now we're going to toss you over to Aegis. The Premier team evened up the series. Game 3 just underway. So please go support the Premier team on the main Aegis stream. Say hello to them. And we'll see you for our next cast, which should be Wednesday. The Premier team might play Tuesday. I don't remember. Tuesday or Wednesday next week, though. Keep an eye out. And we'll see you then.
Okay, there we go. It's shifted over.